I am confused by how non-Chinese people understand China. Foreign language terms often offer quite a limited interpretation of concepts related to China. For example, some people think Chinese refers only to the largest ethnic group in China, who must have black hair and yellow skin. This is incorrect. Chinese denotes nationality. If a foreigner becomes a naturalized citizen of China, they can also be called Chinese. When I saw Chinese Americans saying I am Chinese, 我是中国人, on a Chinese social platform, the Chinese in the comment area replied, "No, you are American." Because the translation creates an awkward situation. The People's Republic of China, 中华人民共和国, is abbreviated as China, 中国. In 1901, Lang Qichao redefined the collective name for all ethnic groups within China as the Chinese nation, 中华民族. Amid domestic turmoil and foreign aggression, they united to rebuild a new homeland. The character 中 means central, while Hua originally meant flower or blossoming, which can be extended to mean glorious and brilliant. The Chinese nation, 中华民族, is the collective term for China's 56 ethnic groups. This kind of political reshaping of ethnic identity, unrelated to bloodline, is not uncommon in Chinese history. I will introduce the relevant historical background in the future because of the long history and vast region. Even if it is the same ethnic group, the costumes are diverse. So I will briefly introduce some national costumes. Next, I'm going to share a song that most Chinese people are familiar with to add some atmosphere. Those are the pictures I generated in AI software using ancient human figures and photos. They don't show all the ethnic groups. If you are interested, please leave a comment below, and I will make a separate video. Next, let's take a look. What's the difference between the Chinese you understand and the Chinese understood by Chinese people? Chinese, 中国人 refers to the status of a person who holds Chinese nationality. Overseas Chinese, 华侨 refers to Chinese citizens residing abroad, excluding international students and dispatched workers from China. Ethnic Chinese, 华人 refers to people who were born in China but have relinquished Chinese nationality and become citizens of other countries. People of Chinese descent, 华裔 refers to those whose ancestors have Chinese lineage but who do not hold Chinese nationality. The largest ethnic group in China is called the Han Han. This group does not speak a single language, but a vast language family. Even some Chinese people mistakenly regard it as one single language, and consider the regional tongues spoken by this group as mere dialects. For example, as many people know, Cantonese is one of the 3 major languages in Guangdong Province, China. Each of these 3 languages has its own dialects. Dialects within the same language are mutually intelligible to a degree of 60% to 98%. Since I speak Guangdong Hakka, I have a clear understanding of these distinctions. I can also understand Cantonese. These languages are closely related to Mandarin, yet this connection is hard for non-native speakers to grasp. Only those who understand tones and Chinese history can truly comprehend it. We became a nation thanks to our long history of sharing the same country, using a single writing system to take imperial exams for government posts, and having official roads built by ancient authorities that linked administrative areas and cities. This allowed information to trickle down and culture to be shared, though it was naturally much less efficient than today. You refer to our Han people's language as Chinese, but we Chinese call it Hanyu. You refer to our Han people's script as Chinese characters, but we Chinese call them Hanzi. The Japanese refer to the Chinese characters used in Japanese as kanji. Affected by geographical and historical factors, the languages in southern China have preserved many ancient words and expressions. The north has long been the political center and exposed to frequent communication with various ethnic groups. And some changes have even occurred in its grammar. And of course, Southern dialects also kept many words from local ethnic groups. China is a history of confrontation and integration among different ethnic groups. In my next video, I will introduce the origin and significance of the term 中国 throughout Chinese history. If you would like to learn more about any topics related to China, comment below. I will select some comments and respond to them in future videos. Just so you know, I just picked up some packages in the small town that my village belongs to. The downtown area of this town is really small. I can walk through the whole thing in less than 2 hours. but it governs 17 villages. Some have a population of over 2,000, while others have more than 5,000 people. Each village has a primary school, but if we want to go to junior high, we have to come to the town center. If we want to go to senior high school, we have to go to the urban area of the small city that this town belongs to. This small city governs 23 small towns like this one, with a total population of over 1 million. And the large city, with an urban population of over 1 million, administers 3 small medium-sized cities like this. I only come to the town center to shop or pick up deliveries. I really enjoy online shopping, and most items come with free shipping. Even something that costs only 1 cent in RMB will be delivered for free to my town. After hearing that, some of you might be curious how anything can cost just 1 cent in RMB. Of course, these are special promotions run by shopping platforms. But there are also items around 1 RMB that still come with free shipping. I'd like to introduce some cheap items I bought. Sure, you get what you pay for. Take this fruit knife, for example. It's flimsy and can only be used on softer fruits. Everyone in China knows that prices match quality. If you only want cheap products, you can't expect high quality. Foreign buyers sourcing from China should understand this logic. If you insist on pushing costs down, the quality will have to be lowered accordingly. All in all, in China, products of every quality level are available. It all depends on how much you pay. Let's talk about how many days it takes for the delivery to arrive. This is the speed of ordinary express delivery. We consumers often wonder, can sellers actually make money this way? Anyway, thanks to convenient transportation and affordable goods, people in rural China can also enjoy a good life. If I were very wealthy and had to choose between living in the city or the countryside, I would definitely pick the countryside because we have more land and nature. Besides, we in the countryside don't have to pay for water like people in cities. We just need a water purifier. Electricity and internet are both readily available. If a rural family in China chooses to switch to urban household registration, their land in their hometown will revert to the village collective and be redistributed to other villagers. Changing from agricultural household registration to urban registration is quite simple. The first path is through academic qualifications. The second path is for people without sufficient academic qualifications, but with professional skills. The government provides free vocational training and waives examination certification fees for 6 categories of people. The third is for those with neither education nor skills, who have worked locally long-term and paid Social Security for enough years. The last path is to join parents, children, or spouses who already hold local urban household registration. China has hundreds of large cities, and when including small and medium-sized ones, There are around 700 cities in total. Only a few popular cities have relatively strict household registration requirements, such as Beijing. However, it is extremely difficult to convert an urban household registration back to a rural one. First, approval from the village collective is required, followed by multiple layers of review beyond the village. Of course, if one's grandparents were registered as urban residents from birth, it is impossible to switch to rural registration at all, as there is no land entitlement. Finally, let's talk about immigration in China. For ordinary people, gaining Chinese citizenship is basically impossible. China has a huge population and a large number of jobs to provide. Even though it is known as the world's factory, there are still many unemployed people every year. It is simply impossible to bring in immigrants to take jobs and living space from local citizens. A lot of information in China has been diced. Without identity documentation, you can hardly get anything done. I have rarely used cash in the past 9 years. Regardless of nationality, seeing a doctor, taking trains, or high-speed trains in China all require official identification. Government staff regularly check the identities of people living in rental housing complexes. Without valid ID, you live like a rat in the sewer. To stay legally in China for an extended period, the only way is to secure a reliable job and apply for a work visa. I often think, even with such a massive industrial system in China, there are still so many unemployed people. Just how much further does manufacturing need to expand? And who will buy all these goods? This may well be why capitalism, due to its insoluble internal contradictions, will inevitably perish and be replaced by communism. Communism can solve the problem of distribution. The prerequisite for achieving a communist society is extreme abundance of daily materials. That is, highly efficient production machinery will make goods no longer scarce. Why did earlier attempts in China fall short? Just think, could someone from 1,000 years ago build a smartphone in 50 years? I don't know if I will live to witness this monumental social transformation.